Welcome back. You're watching Overdrive. Now, as we count down to the hottest launch from Tata Motors this season, the Tata Curvv Coupe SUV, Kranti Sambhav was invited to the Tata Motors Design and Tech Studio in Birmingham to get a first-hand experience of how these cars are designed and also catch up with Martin Uhlarik, the head of design at Tata Motors.
So we're going to see the launch of Tata Curvv on the 7th of August, and before that we have Martin with us. Thank you, Martin, for taking your time for Overdrive. First thing we wanted to understand, this is the first time you're coming with a coupe shape.
Yes.
What was the inspiration? Why did you think of doing that?
Yeah, when we were developing this, we came up with the idea. We saw a real trend globally with SUV coupes. SUV has now become the mainstream product globally, not just in any market, India as well. It's now the critical mass, and we cover pretty much every base size-wise, from a Punch to a Safari. So we felt like, what's next? Is there an opportunity to actually start fragmenting the SUV typology? And we thought, let's do a SUV coupe. And we actually decided that actually 4.3 meter space was right the sweet spot to actually get the biggest volume, biggest impact, make a car that is emotional, dynamic, sporty, high-tech, but at the same time offers all of that SUV traits that people really appreciate and are purchasing.
How did your design team coordinate on this? You have 3 different studios, I guess.
Yes, as always, we have 3 studios in India, in the UK, and in Italy. It was a global competition. The exterior came from a design by an Italian designer, interior from a designer from Pune. The car was developed and designed, for production here in the UK, but then actually a lot of it was developed in Pune, in the India studio.
If you could take us through the design process, how does it work?
Yeah, so when we have a design process, first is like coming up with the concept. This is the segment we think we should be going in, this is the typology. Sometimes that comes from product planning, sometimes it comes from design. I would say at the moment it's about a 50-50 batting average. And then it's a normal process. All 3 studios are briefed with the product, sketch phase, designers produce that. It's like now we've had football, Euro Cup. So it's like a World Cup, or in cricket, World Cup. There's the qualifying phase, everybody does a sketch. Then there's a selection, that's second round. People make a digital model. And we pick 6 exteriors, 6 interiors, and that goes into a scale model phase. Then you go to 3, and then you go to 2. By the time you're in 2, you're in the finals. And then both exterior and interior, that's in full size, clay, and then we have a go with 1. From that brief, the KO, the kickoff, to the selection of the final theme is plus or minus 6 months. And then you need another year to productionize your winning design, exterior and interior, work with engineering, manufacturing, suppliers, feasibility, maintain the integrity of the theme that was picked, and hope that, all that hard work, that's where the hard work starts for a designer, is actually the perspiration to actually push your design through and argue why does this need to be like this, or why does that need to be like that. And it's all part of the design process.
Any design element where you had to fight it out to convince?
Hundreds. Okay. Hundreds of examples. For instance, one example is the door handle. You see, we're going to be introducing a flush door handle. Originally, the car had a traditional door handle, and then we thought, it looks quite old. We've seen flush door handles on much more premium vehicles, but to bring it down to this price point was a challenge. There, a lot of people were for it, but there was also interest that were maybe saying, why don't we just use the traditional status quo door handle? Not only from a visual point of view, that this is, looks good, but also from an aerodynamic point of view.
So thank you so much.
No, thank you. Thank you for coming. I'm really glad to have been able to show you around.
We'll see you again at the launch.
We will.
Well, it's time to head into our final break here on the show. Coming up on the other side, we have a treat for adventurous 2-wheeler commuters. Stay with us. You're watching Overdrive.